Previously on Tales from the 20 side.
It looks like we made it. I don't want to speak too soon, but I can see Haldron right there.
My friends, I must be on my way back to Absalom. I'm sure we will meet again. Your friend, Augusto Ramirez.
If you are in need of perhaps an extra blade in your journey back to the good captain, perhaps I could come with you.
Let's bring her. If she wants to come, let her come. She was very good with a sword.
If you're heading into the forest again, could you keep an eye out for my neighbour? He's a chap by the name of Dryden. Dryden Keppy is. He's a local hunter around these parts. The three of you with Lady Argentia begin to make your way south out of Haldron, back towards the border wood. And similar to yesterday, you find that the snow has crept further out from the wood. Okay, right. Are we about ready to go again, chaps? All got your drinks and stuff sorted?
Yes.
Awesome.
Bottle topped up, bladder emptied.
Got a cup
Soon
of tea.
to be the other way around, I'm sure. Okay, welcome back, listeners, to Tales from the 20 side, Pathfinder 2nd edition Let's Play podcast. My name is Dom. I'm the Games Master for this and all of our other adventures here on the podcast. I'm joined by our regular cast members, Mr. Stu Jackson.
Hello.
Mr. Neil Kelly.
Hello.
And Mr. Darren Mafucci.
Howdy.
How are we doing, guys? How's your little break?
Lovely.
Doing great.
Cup of tea. Lovely cup of tea.
Nice cup of tea.
Mash a brew. Love a brew.
Cup of tea is a well-known staple of RPGs, as we all know.
Indeed. Nice whittle. Staple of breaks.
Yes. Okay, so obviously we haven't got anything new to talk about because the episode from last week has just been recorded. So we're not going to faff around with talking on this one. We're just going to dive straight back into it.
Still in lockdown. There you go. All
Indeed, still in lockdown. Trying to mention it as little as possible, so that we're not dragging this up in the future. But it's going to be happening regardless. Yes, we're still in lockdown. We're still recording from home. There we go. That's it done and said. Yeah. So our three adventurers had just returned to the town of Haldron, where they dropped off the Lady Argentia, who they just rescued from the border wood. Took a little bit of downtime in the Dragon's Fangs Tavern, where they met an old accomplice of theirs by the name of Augusto Ramirez, who seemed to have made a full recovery from the disease that he'd been stricken with before they'd left, and was actually being summoned back to Absalom, as there was a matter there that required his bureaucratic attention. So much to his own chagrin, he was beginning to make the long journey back to Absalom, and he listened to your story, enjoyed an evening with you, and wished you well on your journeys, and hoped departed with a hope to meet you again someday. After that, you were approached rather sheepishly by the Lady Argentia, who gave you a small purse of gold to reward you for your efforts in rescuing her, and also to ask, rather awkwardly and sheepishly, if there was room for her in your little band of adventurers as you were planning to head back into the border wood. You deliberated over this and eventually decided that you would allow her to join you on your journey, as as she had already proven herself quite handy with a sword. And so, glad of the extra company. You outfitted yourselves, got yourself some nice thick cloaks to help withstand the cold weather, and you began making your way back into the border wood. And this is where we left off. The three of you had just gotten back to the edge of the forest, sort of already starting to trudge through the snow on the ground. And we left off just as you were breaking through the tree line back into the forest properly. Adventurers, what would you like to do?
Well, let's keep trudging.
Okay.
What's the sun doing around about this time?
So you left Heldron at lunchtime. So yeah, it's probably about 2:30 at this point.
Oh right, still trudging time then. Yeah.
Yeah. Still, you still got a lot of daylight on you.
Okay. Make good use of it.
Sure. Are you following the same trail that you've already traversed, or are you taking a different route?
What do you think, chaps?
I vote we go the same way.
Is the same way the most direct route, do we think?
Is that a question for me or for
It's
everyone else?
probably one for that only you can answer, Dom.
Sure. I tell you what. Give me a survival check, please, Orwin.
Survival, because of course, as adventurers, we didn't get to make a single roll in the last game.
No, you didn't. You're going to make up for it now.
Yay!
Ominous.
Oh. 17.
17. Yeah, you roughly remember the route you took, and you don't know exactly kind of the best route to get to the lodge in a straight line, because you didn't take a straight line route, but you do know that the road kind of meandered and twisted a bit, and you are fairly certain that if you kind of come off the trail fairly early, kind of just after the part where you've where you find the crash carriage, if you come off the trail early and kind of head straight in a southwesterly direction, you will cut off kind of the meander of the trail, at least the initial one before you reach the river.
All right, chaps and milady, we can take a bit of a shortcut through here, I think. But the only trouble is, if we leave the trail and we go into the woods, then Otto's likely to get eaten.
It wouldn't be an adventure without that happening. But I'm also concerned it might be a more direct route. But if the going is harder, and if there is a good chance we could get lost, then it is not really a quicker route.
I think as seasoned adventurers, we're pretty good at keeping in a relatively straight line, which, is quite surprising, really.
Does anyone have a compass? Then we will know we're going in the straight line. That we're heading southwest. Do I have a compass in my adventurer's pack? Let me just rummage around and have a look.
I was going to say, would a compass come in an adventurer's pack, Dom?
I don't believe it does.
Mine contains a climbing kit, grappling hook, and that's all I've got written down for my adventurer's pack.
Do you know what? We don't actually need a compass. What we need to do, which direction are we aiming to head if we come off, Dom?
So if you so literally if you come off in a southwesterly direction, because you know that the trail just after the carriage crash site, it does bend south quite sharply.
Okay. So you see, if we keep the sun to sort of just off to our lefts,
To our right.
that yes,
Yes.
no, hang on,
To our right.
We're heading
half to our right. We're going
southwest.
southwest.
If we're going southwest,
Yes, so
surely-
the sun is setting in the west. We are
Yes.
going slightly to the left of that. Not completely, because that would be completely south. But not 90 degrees, but 45 degrees angle.
Alan's very confused about his left and his right at this point.
Yes.
Well,
of course.
Okay, but you get the idea.
Moment, the sun is in the southwest, so we will go directly for it. But the sun will move around as it sets and sets.
Yes. Yes,
No.
we can use that. We're not going to travel at night, I don't think.
But once we're in the woods, we can't. Once we're in the woods, we won't see the sun.
Oh, I see.
That is why I asked about the compass.
How thick are the woods, Dom?
They do get quite thick, and you know this from your early journeys. It's not impossible to see where the sun is. Kind of as you look up, you do notice that the sky today is particularly overcast.
I think we chance it. You know. What do you think? What do you think, brother Amos and Lady Argentia? What do you two think?
Lady Argentia pipes up and she says, "Well, I must confess, orienteering was never really my strong suit. I'm happy to go where you lead us. I'm just happy to be out on in the wilds again."
But if we stay on the path, then we do not have to worry about navigating. We know the way.
Otto is right.
The way you know is always the easiest way.
Yes,
The quickest way.
this is sensible.
Okay, right.
I'm not for
Democracy
wandering into the
wins.
woods without a compass.
Democracy wins out. Let's keep to the path.
Okay,
And stay off the moors.
stay off the moors.
I admire your sense of adventure, Alwyn, but forgive me for being staid and conservative in my ways, but I think I'd rather stay with the path.
No problem.
Also,
So
we know
you
that
start
there's
following. Go on, sorry.
also we know that along this path there is a place where we can make camp for the night and shelter.
That's true. Where you got eaten. No.
Where I nearly got eaten, yes. And if we wander into the woods, who knows? We might encounter a giant weasel. And that would be the end of us.
Indeed. Oh yes, we're supposed to be looking for Dryden Kep, aren't we?
Well,
Yes.
I don't think looking too hard. I think if we happen to see him, then I'll mention that the lady in the shop is a bit worried about him.
Are there any? I suppose there'll be our own footprints, or any footprints are going to get hidden pretty quickly. But is there any sign of anybody else having traversed through here other than us?
So give me a. I've forgotten what the skill is. Where's my character sheet?
That would be survival again.
It would be survival again. Give me another survival check, please, Orwin.
Oh, 19.
There we go. Yeah, there's quite a few sets of prints, which you remember from the last time you were here. It seemed that obviously you were following the path that Rohkar's raiders had been walking as well. So there are footprints that are kind of covered with snow. There is one set that looks to be a bit more fresh than the rest, and it does appear to be leading along the trail that you're following.
Okay, well, while ever it happens to go where we're going, I will follow it.
It is one set of prints. It cannot be a menace to us, I think.
Well, no, it's probably the Striding Kep chap here. We ought to check on him, make sure he's all right.
Okay.
At least.
So you start following along this trail. After a short time of walking, you can feel the wind whistling and biting into you. But you sort of huddle up in your cloaks, and you don't feel its effects quite so sharply. You round a bend on the trail, and you find the chest where you had previously been hit with a log, which is still in the place that you'd left it. So the log still hanging down from a tree, the chest still open and on its side, from where Olwen had retrieved the goods from underneath it. and you proceed further along until eventually you come to the heavy snowdrift where Otto had been attacked by this large lizard-like creature, and eventually after where you came across Carlton and Bagsy, but a mere few days before.
And how high is the sun in the sky by this time?
It's still fairly light. You feel it's probably only about 4 o'clock, maybe 4:30. As you guys approach this snowdrift, can you all give me a perception check, please?
I was just thinking, it's almost like a catalogue of all the places that Otto nearly died.
12.
9.
Big old 7 for Alwyn.
Okay. The four of you are kind of walking along, just kind of chatting gently, and Otto is in fact regaling you all with, yes, this is the place where I was hit with the massive log. This is the place where I was almost eaten by a giant lizard up a tree. And as such, you don't know. The three of you don't notice this, Lady Johnson included. But Brother Amos, as you're approaching this snowdrift, you do hear something moving on the other side of it.
I hear something moving, gentlemen.
Draw the rapier.
Okay.
I'm not carrying any weapons, am I?
You are a weapon.
I will go and investigate the noise.
Okay.
And I will be stealthy.
Give me a stealth check, please, Brother Amos.
Where's my stealth thing? There it is. 25.
25.
Very stealthy.
Silent as you can be, Brother Amos, you slip away from the group, and you start moving towards the place that you previously made camp. And you can still see that there is still the burned out corpse of this massive lizard that you previously fought, and you can see there, just kind of picking at the bones, you see a pack of looks to be 3 wolves.
Okay.
They do not appear to have noticed you.
I will return to Alwyn, also and Lady Manasine, and let them know that there are 3 wolves there.
Okay, you do so. Less than a minute later, the rest of you, Amos returns from his investigations just as quietly as he left, and informs you that there are some wolves picking at the bones of this lizard you'd killed.
There are some wolves picking at the bones of the lizard we killed.
Well, we did leave a charred body lying there. It was bound to attract foragers.
It's got a point. Do you think we can go round, or do you think it's best to kill them?
Or chase them off, maybe.
Maybe you can set fire to something nearby and they might run away.
You do recall that this kind of heavy snowdrift was between the path and the place where you made camp. You kind of pitched camp behind it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we can avoid the wolves and make camp.
Well, do we really want to make camp where the wolves have come to? Don't we want to make camp somewhere else? Where wolves don't come?
Well, the wolves are well fed. I think as long as we don't attract their attention, and we keep a good watch.
Okay.
Well, was there anywhere a little further along, perhaps, which would also have made a good camp? Because I liked that place.
Even if you got eaten.
Yes, I have fond memories of this place.
Well, there's 4 of us and only 3 wolves.
3 wolves.
I still say if maybe Otto can, like I say, just set fire to something nearby and hopefully that'll scare him away. Throw one of your famous fireballs towards them.
Yes. Perhaps I could set fire to one of the wolves.
I think that might start something. I thought it was you who said scare them away.
All right. Then I will set fire to a nearby tree.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Very-
So you. Whereabouts? So I'm sorry. Which kind of tree are you aiming at? Are you aiming for one kind of in this clearing where you were camping, or one a bit closer to you guys?
The one that's nearest to the wolves.
Sure. So you aim for one kind of in the area where you camped. Incidentally, it is the same one that it appears to be the same one that you were dragged up by this creature.
Ah, then it is revenge.
For the tree. Yeah. You kind of creep up a bit closer, call on your innate magic in your blood, and you flick this ball of fire toward the tree. Don't worry about the attack roll. Otto, just roll me some damage for that.
Some damage. 3. 3 plus.
3 points of damage.
It is just 3 points of damage. It is just the.
It's plus your charisma bonus for your spell
plus charisma. 6.
6 points of damage. Yeah, you watch as this tree begins to crackle and burn. It doesn't go up like instantly. You know, it is still quite cold. It's got quite a lot of snow and moisture on it. But yeah, it does begin to smolder, and you do see a flame starting to catch on the edge of it. You kind of hear from the other side an oh. It certainly seems to have got these wolves' attention. One of them, you can kind of see from where you are, kind of creeps up towards this tree that's now burning, sniffs it quite cautiously, then sort of turns back around to its pack and lets out a small howl, and you all listen as you hear the sounds of footprints making their way back into the forest.
Well, that was better than I thought it would. It could have gone either way.
Indeed. Now we've got a ready-made campfire.
Yes. And light by which to make our beds for the night.
Just in case you missed it, it is still about 4:30, so it's still fairly early in the day if you wanted to carry on.
I think if we carry on, then we will find ourselves in an unsheltered spot when we need to rest. And does anyone fancy some supper?
I could eat.
So you set up your campsite in actually in kind of the same place that you camped previously, and you set a campfire and you begin to relax for the rest of the evening. Are you guys doing anything before you go to bed?
I think we ought to organise a watch order.
Good thinking, Alwyn.
I'll go first.
I'll take second watch.
Then I will go third.
Okay. You do see that Lady Argenti was sort of there about to jump in, and you've already kind of taken them all for her. But she...
Well, it might be a long
Can
night.
divide it by 4.
If we do
it done.
a 2-hour watch each, then I will wake up the Lady Argenti, and you'll have an undisturbed 6 hours or so, my lady.
This would be good. Yes, okay. All right.
And it is a position of great responsibility because often an attack will be conducted at dawn when people are least prepared. So that's when I attack.
This is good to know. I think I heard one of our military commanders say a similar thing when we were still at war with Kadira. So yes, I will be vigilant. Don't you worry.
Did also just say that's when he attacks.
Yes, that's when I always attack. That's what I would do.
Okay, you're a bandit. Good to know.
I'm a bounty hunter. I have to choose my moment sometimes.
There you go. Obviously you guys kind of pitch camp. It's about 5 p.m. You sort of while away a couple of hours, talking, swapping stories perhaps, and eventually it does begin to get dark, and you do begin to bed down for the evening. So who was taking the first watch?
Alwyn.
Alwyn was, okay. Perception check, please, Alwyn.
Okay. Oh, 21.
21.
Very perceptive.
Just as everyone else is kind of settling into rest, you do hear kind of the wind beginning to pick up quite heavily. There's a crack of thunder off deeper in the forest, and quite a moderately heavy flurry of snow begins to drop down.
Okay, so it's a bit closer to the fire.
Sure, you do so. You kind of huddle yourself up into your cloak. Alwyn, you're not wearing winter cloak, are you?
No, I'm wearing a normal cloak.
Okay. If you could give me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Yes, I can. So is it just Constitution, not Fortitude, or?
Sorry, Fortitude saving throw. I've been doing 5e all weekend. And
that's why I thought I'd better check.
That's all right. That's quite all right.
22.
22. Okay, yeah. The wind begins to bite in, but you kind of, as you mentioned, you kind of wrap yourself in your cloak and huddle closer to the fire, which seems to be enough to keep away the worst of the chill. Your watch ends otherwise without incident, and you're handing over to Brother Amos, correct?
That's correct.
That is correct.
On handover, I will say that snow's coming down a little bit heavier. As I'm going to be getting some sleepy, do you mind if we just swap cloaks just for the time being? I'll take it back in the morning.
I don't
but
mind
maybe
at all.
you know if the person on watch has the normal cloak,
That's fine.
because
That's
they
fine.
can sit next to the fire if that's all right. Thank you.
Okay. Sure, and yeah, you swap your cloaks over, and you settle down for your sleep, Alwyn. Brother Amos, give me a perception check, please.
20.
20. Again, you don't see anything particular of interest, but as Owen mentioned, the snow is beginning to come down, certainly harder than it was the first time that you travelled through this area. But you're kind of sat lying awake, and the forest is, for the most part, eerily quiet. You do hear somewhere off in the distance, you do hear the howl of some more wolves calling to each other in the darkness. But otherwise, nothing happens with your watch. You awake, and you waken Otto.
Is it that time already?
Over to you, Otto.
Okay, so Otto, if I could have a perception check from you, please.
Is perception? It's 21.
21, nice. As you're kind of making the watch, the snow that Amos has been telling you about seems to be easing up. And about an hour into your watch, as the snow does begin to drift away, you do hear what sounds like footprints approaching you from the forest.
I will wake everyone up.
Kind of take a moment to you sort of stop and you look around in their direction, and a few seconds later, you do see kind of just poking their snouts out of the tree line. You do see looks to be the same 3 wolves that you scared off previously. They quite cautiously poke their noses out of the tree line. They seem to be very aware of the fire, and they don't come any closer.
I think this is time to wake everyone up and say, stand to.
Okay, you wake the rest of your comrades up. The 3 of you are awakened by Otto.
The wolves are back.
Oh, do your fireball thing to scare them off again?
Well, I
Did
thought
that not work?
As you notice, Otto, as the 4 of you start to stand up and rouse, the wolves kind of shrink back into the forest and seem to turn tail for now.
Well, I seem to have woken.
I'm going back to sleep.
I seem to have made a faux pas.
That's all right. It's better to err on the side of caution.
Better safe than sorry. Yes.
That's right. No worries. But yes, if you come back, just do one of your fireball-y things. That worked really well.
It did. Yes.
Okay, so the rest of you go back to sleep, and Otto, you resume your watch. The rest of it is uneventful, and you rouse the Lady Argentia for her watch.
It is time for your watch, my lady.
Of course, this is good. Go on, Otto. You get some sleep.
But it is just before dawn, so.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yes.
And yeah, Otto, you find yourself to sleep, and a couple of hours later, you are woken by Lady Argentia, sort of telling you, "Good morning, travellers. It is the daytime. Yes, it's time to get up. We need to continue with our journey."
Yes, we need to have some breakfast first.
Of course,
Yes.
of course. It's only a few miles now, is it not?
Alwyn will get his hip flask out.
Funny description of breakfast you have, Alwyn. I like it.
To Caden Galian.
Indeed.
I will have
To Caden Galian.
Not too much want to make it last.
Okay. Yeah, so you have your breakfast, you get yourselves together, and you begin setting off on the second leg of your journey. What order are you guys travelling in for this?
Alwyn up front, as always.
Alwyn up front then.
Okay.
Alwyn will get his normal cloak back from whoever.
Oh yes, we can swap
it.
cloaks.
Did you keep it all the way through the night then?
I did.
Oh,
Isn't it?
I was
I'm
just
suffering with this hangover. I'm not functioning very well today.
Oh, poor chap. No, it's
They get worse as I get older.
Have your warm cloak back. No, my thinking was whoever was on watch, you see, because they can stick to the fire. That was my thinking.
No, I just wasn't thinking.
Warm yourself up. There you go. It's lovely and toasty, that. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Olwyn's leading the way.
Yep.
Who's behind him?
I'll go behind Alwyn.
Okay.
And then perhaps the Lady Argentia, and then I will take up the rear.
of course.
I'm going to suggest that perhaps Otto, as a spellcastery squishy person, is probably not the best person to be at the back.
I'll take the back.
I
like your
think
thinking.
it's probably more sensible.
I don't mind
right.
coming up the rear.
You will have no arguments from me about coming up the rear.
There we go. Okay, so you begin making your way back down the trail that you previously traversed. Soon after you start walking, you come across the area where you had fought the lights that attacked you in the forest. And you do notice that there seem to be a few more of these little crow fetishes that have been hung in the trees. Actually, let's have a perception check from everybody, please.
Ah, yes, this is where Otto nearly got killed by those lights.
20. 20.
Cool.
11.
17.
And what for Brother Amos?
11.
11, okay. So, Brother Amos, you're still a little bit distracted. It's still a bit of a chill from sleeping the whole night with just a regular cloak. But everybody else, you notice that while you do notice that there are sort of 2 or 3 more of these crows that weren't here beforehand, you don't see any new ones being raised up, and you don't see any sets of lights in this area. So go on. Sorry.
Let us keep going. This place gives me the creeps.
Yes.
Okay. So you proceed past the area with the crows, and before too long, perhaps another probably half an hour or so is walking. You find yourself coming downhill, overlooking the river that you had crossed previously, and the snowman that had exploded in your face appears to have been rebuilt, and there is a fresh sign around its neck that, in a familiar phrase to you now, says in common, "Trespassers turn back."
I mean, they keep putting this warning sign here and we keep ignoring it. I don't know why they bother.
Yes, well, I don't think it applies to us. I think we are here on legitimate business.
But who keeps putting it up?
A person or persons unknown. I wonder if it will explode again when we get near it.
I've got an idea on that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not go near it.
Good thinking.
Going to look to see if there's somewhere else where the ice is nice and thick that we can cross.
And the river is narrow.
Give me a perception check, Orwin.
21.
Okay. You can see that although this snowman is guarding kind of the eastern bank of the river as you approach, it's only kind of in the middle of the ready-made path, and where the land slopes down to the river naturally, it is quite wide and quite open here. So you can quite easily get to the edge of the river without getting right up next to the snowman again.
Yes. Let's cross here then. Do you know what? Otto had a brilliant idea last time, where if we all hold onto a rope, then if one of us falls in, we can haul ourselves out on the rope.
Oh yes, I remember. That was a good idea.
Brilliant idea. So here's my rope. So I'll take one end of it and I'll cross first.
Well, perhaps I should go first.
Next.
I was thinking I should go first as I'm lighter than you.
Do you know what? As a stout dwarf, You're probably not any lighter than me.
Well, I beg to do. Well, all right. But I think
I know you're shorter, but I'm rather more elfin.
Yes, of course you are. But,
Being a half elf.
I was going purely on height, and of course, no doubt there's just the Lady Argentia Malacine, who is the lightest of us all. But I don't think she should go across first.
No.
But the lightest.
So how about if I go across, then Lady Malacine, then you, then Brother Amos?
Yes, and if you take a rope and take it, lead it across with you, and tie it to something. Tie it to something sturdy, and then we will have a rope going across, and we will tie it to a tree at each side. And that will give us
Yes, all right then.
something to hold on to.
Yes, okay.
And yeah, you guys could quite easily do that. Between you, you've got more than enough rope to do that. And this part of the river itself, it's only about 30 feet across, so it's not a massive distance to traverse.
Okay, so just the one piece of rope should do then at 50 feet.
Well,
Yes.
you kind of, I'd say you would probably need to tie two together just to make sure you've got the length you need.
Okay.
But you've, as I mentioned, you've all got ropes, so that's something you can do quite easily.
Okie doke. We'll do that, and Alwyn will start making his way across.
Okay. Sure. So, Owen, you start edging your way very carefully across the ice, and it creaks and it groans a little bit under your feet. But for the most part, it seems quite sturdy. And in fact, you kind of get 3/4 of the way across, and you're standing in an area that you're sure broke under you last time you traversed it. But it seems good and strong this time. You make your way across, you find something to tie the rope to, and you complete your crossing.
Okay, my lady, your turn.
Yes, we tie off the rope on our side, and then my lady can hold on to it with both hands as you make your way across the river.
You let me cross there without tying the rope off.
Well, no,
Bugger.
Well, we were playing it out. We were all holding it for you, so that if you fell, the rope was tied around you. So if you'd have fallen, then we'd have immediately pulled you out. But now we need the rope secure, and we need.
Yes,
we
now we
can't-
need the rope secure. Yes, okay.
Lady Argentia kind of listens to this and says, "Come on now, boys, we can bicker later." And she starts to make her way across the river. And after she also takes it quite slowly, obviously following the line of the rope. Before too long, she's made her way across the river.
So it is between myself and Brother Amos. Perhaps if Brother Amos continues to take it up the rear, I will go next.
Okay. Also, you also start moving onto the ice. Again, it creaks and it groans beneath your stockier build. And there is a moment about halfway across where you do hear a slight crack under your feet, and you look down at the ice. It splinters for just a mere moment, and then seems to stop solid. You kind of pause for just a second to make sure that it's going to hold, and you very gingerly and cautiously take another couple of steps, and eventually find yourself moving again, and before too long you have crossed the river.
Now it's just Brother Amos.
Before you cross, Amos, are we going to leave the rope here, or are we going to get him to untie it?
I'll untie it at this end.
Good. Then tie it to yourself,
Yes.
and we will haul you in.
We'll take up the slack.
Yes.
Okay, and between the two of you and Lady Argentia, you quite quickly coil the rest of this rope up, and you brace yourselves. And Brother Amos, you step gingerly onto the ice with a rope around your waist, and you make your way across. You see the area that's kind of cracked where Otto was moving, and you move a bit around it. You see it begins to splinter further as you do so, and you decide to pick up your pace just a little bit, and you get across the river just as this crack splinters fully across the river, and you see a shard of ice sort of break away and sink into the water underneath. But you do get across without an issue.
Well, that was a close one.
Yes, and now we are committed. There is no going back.
Well, now we can go back if we need to. We just go across a different part of the river.
Oh, right, yes. Of course you are right. you have an answer for everything. I was trying to be dramatic here.
Oh, sorry, I killed the moment.
Yes, you killed the moment. And now my lady Argentia Malacine is not impressed.
Oh, that's quite funny. The four of you do cross the river, safe and sound. Where are you going? You continuing up the trail?
Yeah.
You recall at this point that you're not too far away from the lodge, as the trail kind of climbs back up a hill and then disappears back into the woods. You recall that this is kind of where you encountered the bandits who eventually led you into the lodge.
And there are no bandits here now?
So you're still on the bank of the river. You recall that they were a bit further up.
Well, let's just walk until we meet the bandits. They should be expecting us.
Not far from where poor Carlton met his sticky end.
Poor Carlton. I wish you hadn't reminded me of that. I feel sad now.
I was being dramatic.
You have an answer for everything.
Amazing. So you continue up the path with Lady Argentia in tow, and I'll tell you what, let's have perception checks from the three of you.
I threw a natural 1, so 6.
An 8.
21.
21. Okay. As you're all approaching, kind of where you met the bandits beforehand. Otto and Brother Amos, you don't notice this immediately. You're kind of lost in thought, daydreaming perhaps. But Olwen, you kind of get to the area where you think that these bandits were before, and they are not there.
See, we'd think that they'd be here, but they're not. But look, there they aren't. Maybe they were on patrol and they're just somewhere else.
No, something is wrong. They would be keeping a watch. They had a permanent guard here. Are there any remains of our previous, where we left the horses and the poor, I forget his name, but I loved him so. Poor Carlton. I'm trying to expunge the memory because it is too painful for me. Any sign of Carlton's remains?
So you recall that you kind of left him by the riverbank previously, which is where you'd found him dead, and then you burned his body. So when you finished crossing the river, you did kind of see a small ash pile where you had set that fire.
So perhaps we should proceed with caution.
Yes, I think so.
Can we see the lodge from here?
From here, no, but you do recall that it was kind of not too much further. You kind of continue up this trail and then round to the right hand side, and it opens out into a small clearing.
On the plus side, of course, this time we get to take our weapons.
Yes.
I am a weapon.
You are a weapon.
You are a weapon.
I think that needs to be on a T-shirt. Just a picture of Brother Amos going, "I am a weapon." But there we go.
You're a weapon. Otto's a fire starter, and I'm a tool.
The four of you make your way up the up the path, and about 100 feet away from where these bandits were beforehand, Orwin, you notice something on the floor, kind of just off to the left-hand side. And you go to approach. You kind of approach it, and you see that lying on the floor is a crossbow that has tied to it a whole bunch of pots and pans. It looks like it was resting in a tree, and now is lying on the floor.
Now that's weird. Or do you think it could be some sort of alarm system?
Perhaps.
I'll tell you what, Orwin, give me a perception check.
We're doing well on my perception checks tonight. 19.
19. There you go. Yeah, as you kind of take a second to inspect this further, you do see that there was a line, almost invisible in the snow, that appears to have been tied to the crossbow and was stretching across this path. It does appear to be loose.
Yes, I think this is an alarm system. That's my deduction here. Can the crossbow be sort of removed from it all to make a working crossbow?
It definitely can. So I mean, at this point it's a crossbow lying in the snow with a bunch of pots and pans tied to it. You can just untie the pans. That's easily enough. Easily done enough.
Okay, I'll do that, and I'll hand the crossbow to Lady Argentia.
Oh, thank you.
I think somebody, one of these chaps, might have some bolts. I've only got arrows, I'm afraid.
Yes, I have a few bolts you could have.
I have bolts.
Good.
And I think I will also withdraw and load my own hand crossbow.
Sure. Okay.
I will
actually-
I will give Lady Argentia 10 bolts.
Okay. Yeah, she takes them very gratefully. Stashes them in a small. See that there's a small compartment on her hip that she puts them into. Actually, Olwyn, with that perception check, you also notice that kind of from where this line was running across the floor, you can see what appears to be a trickle of blood leading down the path towards the lodge.
Ooh, blood. Is it fresh blood?
It's very fresh. It's still viscous.
Ooh, still wet. Let's I think we need to pick up the pace somewhat. I'm going to draw the longbow and knock an arrow and start jogging.
Okay. Are the rest of you keeping pace?
Yes.
Yes, but I think the danger is probably ahead of us rather than behind us.
That's the way I'm going.
Yes. You're going headlong
Towards
into
the
it.
danger.
Maybe we need to be a bit slower and careful.
Okay.
But I will keep pace with you.
I mean, yes, keep pace in case anything happens to him.
I mean, to be clear, I'm not sprinting.
Yeah, it's just like a light jog.
Like, oh, somebody's hurt. You know.
Okay, so you follow the path up towards the lodge, and indeed, sort of, you kind of turn a corner immediately after where you found this contraption set up, and you do see the High Sentinel Lodge, and this trail of blood seems to it leads towards up the steps of the front gate, and it seems to lead inside the lodge itself. At this point, you guys are about 20 feet from the nearest edge of the lodge, and you watch as kind of the northernmost window on this side facing you explodes outwards, and you see looks to be a very sort of light blue ray of some kind come shooting out of the window into the sky. And now that this has happened, you can start hearing that there is some kind of commotion happening inside the lodge.
I have a feat, recognise spell.
Sure. Is there a roll for that?
Let me double check.
Is it a champion feat?
It is, because I'm a champion, so it would be. I don't think it's going to... Right, a creature within a line of sight casts a spell.
Fair enough. Unfortunately not.
Must be aware of the casting.
Fair enough.
If I'm trained in it, and it's a common spell of second level or lower, I automatically identify it.
Okay. I'll tell you what. You've
there is actually a roll. But if that's the case, if I automatically identify it, I can't get a worse result than a success.
Okay. Let me just look at the wording on the feat. Because I do not recognise that feat. I rolled a 1 on my recognised feat check.
You rolled a secret arcana, nature, occultism, or religion check, whichever corresponds to the tradition of the spell being cast.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see. And what's your...
Well, I'll give you them all. My arcana is -2. My nature is 1. My occultism is -2. My religion is 5.
Okay. So actually, it largely doesn't matter. You recognise as this comes out. I mean, you haven't seen it being cast, so you're not certain. But the effect is concurrent with the Ray of Frost spell.
It's Rare Frost, probably dealing with a wizardy person.
Okay.
So, chaps, are we off to see the wizard?
The wonderful wizard.
Yeah.
What if, it's just an idea, what if I perhaps set fire to the lodge and then we shoot whoever comes out?
Well, there might be innocent people in there.
Well, we'll use our best judgment.
We
as to
don't
who
go
we shoot
burning innocent people.
and who we don't shoot.
We've learnt that. We don't burn the innocent.
Did we? When did we
mean-
learn that? I don't remember
Just
that.
now.
Yes.
It's a new lesson.
Okay. As you're kind of having this conversation, one of the doors again on this wall facing you bursts open, and you see one of Rohkar's raiders sort of flying back out onto their back, and they sort of fall out of the doors and then sort of slam heavily onto the decking outside, and they appear to not be moving.
Oh, quickly run over and check if he's alive.
Okay, give me
Say
give me a medicine check, Orwin.
Medicide. 14.
14.
What is it with me and Medicide checks?
It's like the game just doesn't want you to roll them.
Did you just call it Medicide?
Medicide, yeah. I've decided it's Medicide when
Yeah.
Olwyn's concerned.
I've decided that Olwyn's kind of if this were a video game, Olwyn's class would be the Harmacist.
The harvest.
There we go. So you run up and you check this individual. They seem to have a big loads of shards of ice embedded in their chest, and they do not appear to be moving. You feel like this individual is probably dead.
I don't think he's going to pull through.
Or
We
even
need to
tell us what's
avenge
going
him.
on.
He's dead, Jim.
Avenge Ice Chesty. Bright Olwyn's going to pelt through the door.
Okay, you pelt through the door, Olwyn, and as you kind of clamber over the corpse of this individual, you burst through the door, and inside the lodge is a scene of utter chaos. You see kind of off to your right, you see another of Rohkar's bandits. There seem to be these two small shapes flitting around him as they swing at him with his sword. In the centre of the room, kind of near the fireplace, you can see one creature very similar to the ice snakes that you'd fought on the river, and in between him and this flying creature with blue skin is another bandit. You see that Rohkar is up on the great table, sort of whirling and slashing with his sword, and he sees you enter the lodge, Olwyn, and he calls out, about bloody time. Was beginning to wonder when you guys were showing up. Come on, help us out here, will you?
Well, he seems very calm for what's going on. Okay.
That's mostly because I can't act not calm without shouting my microphone apart.
And the listeners appreciate you for it.
And yeah, Olwyn, as Rohkar says this, one of these flying figures that's harassing the bandit on the right-hand side kind of wheels round in an arc and flies straight towards you. Let's roll some initiative, please.
Okay. 15.
15.
14.
14.
Oh.
And for Otto.
Oh, for all of us. Rolling for initiative.
What's your perception?
15.
15 for Otto. Okay. Okay, so this small individual that's flying straight towards you, Olwyn, and you see that it's got blue skin, and it seems to have these sort of butterfly-like wings dragging behind it. Looks similar to the creature that you saw in the basement below the lodge. It comes flying towards you, and you see that it has a little rapier of its own in one hand, and it's going to swing for you. Okay, and with a 12, I think that's going to miss you.
That does miss.
Okay, so it goes in for a strike. You quickly step to one side, and it glides past you.
Aha!
Go on, sorry, are you doing something?
No, I just went, ha-ha!
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, it kind of lunges for you, glides more to the left-hand side so that it's kind of in the corner. It's going to lunge for you a second time. And no, that's going to be a 13 to hit.
No.
Yeah, so again, it kind of thrusts at you with its rapier and thrusts a second time, but you definitely dodge out of the way. It's now Rohkar's turn. You see he kind of leaps off the table to help out his fellow who's standing on the door in the corner to the north. Makes 2 strikes of his own at the creature. Okay, and gets kind of a glancing blow with the second strike. You see a small spurt of what looks to be blood of some kind blast out of this small creature. That's going to be the end of his turn. Olwyn, you're up.
Right, as it's come right up to me, I'm going to drop the longbow, draw my rapier as my first action, and attempt to stab the little blue thingy.
Okay, roll the attack.
14.
14. Oh, it's just a miss, unfortunately. You think you've got it, and then it flicks just slightly up into the air.
Okay, my last action, I will attempt the same thing again. Okay. Oh, that's better. 21.
21 is a hit, so roll the damage there for me.
Yay. 1 point of damage.
1 point of damage. Okay. So you lunge out. It kind of changes direction just as you get your blade to it, but you do get a strike on this individual. Anything else there, Olwyn?
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay, in that case we are around to Otto. Otto, you've just seen Olwyn disappear. First you saw this bandit come flying out of the lodge, and now you've seen Olwyn just go rushing in. What would you like to do?
Well, I suppose I'd better follow Olwyn into the lodge.
Okay, so 25 feet will get you just inside the door. And as mentioned, you see a scene of utter pandemonium. There's bandits that are fighting off various small creatures and a few of these ice snakes as well.
Ice snakes as well?
Well, there's one of the ice snakes that you'd fought over the river, and there's another also small flying creature that appears to have blue skin and quite a long nose.
Which is nearest to me?
The nearest one to you is there's one of these small fairy-like creatures that's between Captain Rohkar and one of his bandits.
Then I will deploy my electric arc to him.
Okay, so it's a dexterity save from the thing. Okay. Ooh, what's your spell DC, Otto?
It is 16.
Oh, that is a fail on the sprite's part. How much damage does he take?
Let's have a look. Let's have a roll. 3. Oh, 3 plus... is it 3 plus anything?
If it is, it's plus your charisma modifier. But I don't know that for certain. Bear with me. It will say in the spell description, which I appreciate you don't have because you don't have the rule book.
I don't.
Let's check this. Electric arc. Yeah, 1d4 plus your spellcasting modifier.
Right, so it's 6.
6 points of damage, yeah, nice. A nasty zap on this creature here. It kind of shudders in place for a moment, and then goes right back to what it was doing, harassing the gentleman in the corner. Is looking fairly hurt though.
Well, I have my hand bow in my hand. I'll take a shot at him.
Okay, so electric arc is 2 actions, and it took your move action to get inside. So unfortunately, you haven't got more this turn.
I've finished.
That's all right. So end of your turn, Olwyn. Otto, sorry. It is round to Brother Amos. Again, Brother Amos, you've just seen this bandit come flying out of the lodge, and then your comrades go rushing inside.
Okay, so obviously I will I'll move inside to the lodge.
Okay. 25. Yeah, you kind of push past Otto and Olwyn, and again, as I say, the scene is utter pandemonium in this common room.
Okay. Well, Otto seems to have hit, so I'm going to attack the creature that was after Olwyn that he missed on his last turn.
Sure.
With,
yeah. So, and where you've come through the door, you are kind of right next to this creature, so you can absolutely have a swing at it.
Excellent. I'll have a swing at it with flurry of blows.
Okay, roll the 2 attacks for me.
What am I adding to these? I can't remember.
It's your unarmed strike modifier.
24.
Is a hit. Not quite a critical.
And 21.
Is a hit. So two solid hits there.
Okay. 5. And a 6.
5 and a 6, yeah. You kind of weave in between Otto and Olwyn, see this small creature, and with the first strike, you manage to pin it to the wall, and with the second, you smash its head against the wall of the lodge. And as you pull your fist away, it kind of sticks to your fist. You kind of shake it, and it kind of flutters off and hits the ground with a heavy thud.
Good
Take
work.
that, you blue bastard.
There you go. I believe you have one more action, Brother Enos.
How far away am I from the one that Otto had to go at?
You're only about 10 feet.
I'll move towards that in my next action then.
Okay, you kind of scamper up onto the table, so you got a better view. You see this one between Rohkar and one of his bandits, and you make ready to leap down and unleash hell on it. Okay. The three of you see this actually, kind of behind one of the bandits. As mentioned, there's this small creature that kind of has blue skin, quite a long nose and big ears, and for lack of a better description, looks like it would be wearing a furry hat if it was not quite clearly part of its body. And this particular individual sees you enter through the doorway, kind of looks at the three of you with a sneer and says,
The meddlers. Good. Tebnotten will be pleased.
and she moves away from the bandit that she's engaged with, disappears around a corner, and you hear a smash as a window appears to break. And she disappears from sight. And that, folks, is where we're going to end it for tonight's session.
And I am unhurt. I have come through 2 whole episodes unscathed.
So far.
Tales from the 20 Side is a Feagle Films production in association with Juicy Falls. Music by Nazar Ryback from hooksounds.com, editing by Stu Jackson. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram by searching Tales from the 20 Side or by visiting talesfromthe20side.com.